What's up, y'all? It's your boy Smacks, and you already know what time it is. You tapped into the Cage No More podcast. It's going down in a major way. Today, we're talking about everything success after addiction, everything success after incarceration. But first, before we go, I want to give a little shout out to our sponsors in the Renaissance Ranch. It's a men's and women's leading treatment center in the state of Utah. So if you or anybody you know is struggling with addiction, make sure you tap into www.renaissanceranch.net and start your journey now. Today, I got a very good guest, my boy Brian with UAPS. What's up, my boy Brian? Hey, man, I know you got so much good things going on. You know, I want to get into the peer support specialist. You were the one who was kind of pioneering the peer support, right, in the state of Utah. I actually got certified through you as well, so you were my instructor, and I've took that peer support certification and was able to get into the community of addiction and be able to help others who are struggling through my experience. So how's it going, Brian? I just kind of want to get your story a little bit, maybe. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get into what you got going on.
Well, it's going amazing. Yeah, you know, you got your ups, you got your downs. It's all just part of the game. I just
Absolutely.
love it. You know what I mean? Recovery. I can't think of a worse day now than when I was in addiction and stuff.
Absolutely.
Part of my journey, it was a mess. You know what I mean? I was in juvenile prison before I was even 14. I spent most of my later juvenile years in the State Youth Development Center, which is juvenile prison. It used to be up in Ogden.
Yeah.
They let me out of there at 20, I think. And I did pretty good for a year and a half, 2 years, somewhere in there. And then my schizophrenia kicked in, right? And so It was a mess. It was pretty dark. My family didn't know much about what was going on. I just went from, you know, finally being home and being loved and being part of something, and then all of a sudden alienated again. It was a pretty dark time.
Absolutely.
Needless to say, I went deeper and deeper. I got into drugs because a lot of the stuff people were doing on, like meth and stuff like that, kind of simulated some of the things I was going through. So I thought maybe I was just playing the game, you know what I mean? I got deeper and deeper. Ended up in prison. And spent quite the career out there in prison too. From 89 to 2009, I think. I was just in and out, in and out, in and out. I think I had 10 stays out there.
That's a lot.
It was a lot. I didn't really know that I had schizophrenia. You know what I mean? It took 10 years for somebody to finally figure out that I had schizophrenia, and it was one of my lawyers. He said, I was in court and I was totally psychotic. I'm freaking out on the judge, begging him to let me out and all this stuff, you know what I mean? And my lawyer pulled me aside. He said, dude, you're a burger short of a Happy Meal. It was crazy. He said, can I get you some help? And so I said, whatever, you know what I mean? But they did. They got me some help. They got me into the state hospital, which was an opportunity to kind of, I don't know, I fell into what's called the life is limited stage, right? First, it hit me like a brick because I was out there and nobody was on drugs and everybody had the same symptoms as me. And so it hit me like a ton of bricks. And then I just fell into what's called the life is limited stage. I sat out there for about 2 years, 2.5 years, trying to figure out what to do next. I finally accepted that I had schizophrenia, but what do you do with that? You know what absolutely. I mean? It's like life is over. So I did pretty good. They finally let me out, and I went back to mom's. I had another year and a half worth of, good quality belonging time where I belonged to something. I was even working at rec centers and stuff. I was feeling good. Yeah. But I didn't address the substance use side of my stuff when I was in the state hospital. So obviously the drugs and stuff crept back in. Pretty soon I was psychotic again, going back to prison. It got dark again. I think it was 2009. I was in jail. I was on my way back to prison. I think this would have been the 11th time. And I was just done. I couldn't be that Brian anymore. Yeah. So I had this plan. I was going to bail out of jail. You know what I mean? I was just going to hang out with family till right before court, and then I was going to commit suicide and just be done. So I did. I did all that. I was out, and I was getting high and doing all this stuff, hanging out. Somehow my brother found out and threw me back in jail.
Yeah.
I'm still not really clear on what happened there. Maybe it was just a gunshot. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I was in jail on my way back to prison again, trying to figure out how do you do it in jail. You know what I mean? I had to come up with new plans. And these ladies walked into the jail and they said, the officers called me. They said, Nelson. I thought I had new charges. You know how that goes.
Yeah, for sure, bro.
I walked in there and these ladies, they're all blunt as heck. Are you done? Yeah, I'm done. I mean, I was done, but their done was different.
Yeah.
Well, we got this new program. We're opening up, and we want you to be in the program.
Yeah.
I said, what the hell? Okay, sounds good to me. Well, I'm going to prison on Monday. Well, what are we going to do about it? We're just going to tell the judge to let you out. But I think I told you, the judge didn't let me out. It was catch Brian and get him back in prison, keep it stable, you know what I mean? So they fought with the courts for like 5 months to try to get me out. They finally did, and I got into treatment. I had no idea what life looked like because from late elementary school all the way till this point, I was a wreck, you know what I mean? And so I didn't know what life looked like. And so it was a learning curve. I had to get in there and start digging into myself. And luckily, I'd created some 1, 3, and 5 year goals when I was spending that extra amount of time just before they let me out of jail. I dug into what could life even look like. So I dug into a bunch of that. But I got out and I stumbled my way through treatment and I made it. And that's when peer support came to Utah. These trainers, they're from Georgia. It's called the Appalachian Consulting Group. Used to fly out here and train peer support specialists.
What year was that?
It was late 2010.
Oh, okay.
Early 2011.
And that was after the program. What program was it, by the way?
It was the Valley Behavioral Health Corps.
Shout out to Valley Behavioral Health for sure, man. They do a great job.
They saved my life. I was looking at some images of the things they helped me discover this morning on my thing. But they flew out here. So I was in that first class when they first flew out here. But I had a 1.5 years, 2 years in recovery, you know what I mean? I was barely making it through treatment. But Utah didn't know what peer support was.
Yeah.
And so we got there was about 50 of us trained as peer supports, but Utah didn't have a workforce. And so we had to get with the state leaders and legislators, and we created a task force to try to dig into how we're going to create policy around all this, how we're going to create a workforce. So we started doing all that. It wasn't just me. It was, all them first 50 peers that were kind of involved, and the state was 100% in with this. So once we got that going, the state decided they wanted to start doing peer support trainings themselves.
Oh, okay. So for the listener, before we go on, explain what a peer support is, because, not too many people understand or know what a peer support is. What exactly is a peer support?
So a peer support is someone like you and me. We raised up in the, hard knocks of life, and we've been through the grind. We found recovery. It's for people that's got a year or so in recovery. It's a way we bring in, we train you on how to use your own lived experience to help another peer that's kind of seeking recovery. Yep. What that does is it empowers people to work better in the system. It creates more trust. It's very trauma-informed. And so by doing that, we can place people in treatment centers and they can bill back to the Medicaid budgets, and it becomes a service of, having a lived experience.
Absolutely.
So it's pretty cool.
So Utah gets on board.
They send out a request for proposal, and I swear everybody was out there trying to write curriculum of, you know.
Oh, for the peer support curriculum?
Yeah. I mean, I had people in treatment saying they was writing a curriculum. We're going to be
Currently, they were in their sixth step trying to write a curriculum. That's funny.
there really was. It was a pretty big fire, you know what I mean? And so USU at Utah State University reached out to Appalachian Consulting Group, who trained me.
Okay.
And they got the original curriculum from them. It was originally created for mental health only.
Oh, okay.
So they got it and brought it to Utah, and then they contacted me. They said, "Do you want to be a trainer?" I told them, no.
Yeah.
I don't do good in front of people. You know what I mean? No. And they
You
said,
did absolutely great, by the way. You did.
I don't feel like it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so they said, okay, but we need your help writing the curriculum because Utah wanted to add substance use into it. They wanted to add some crisis stuff in it. And I can do that. I'm very good at dual disorder stuff. I've been working in the field for a while. And so I teamed up with USU to do all that. And we took their curriculum, kept the fidelity of it, and added in more peer support and stuff like that. And then when we was done, they kept begging me again. You sure you won't be a trainer? Just once or twice a year.
Yeah.
I said, okay, I'll do it.
Gave it a go.
Yeah, and that's why I'm probably sitting here today.
Absolutely.
It's been a ride. Needless to say, that jumped off fast. We trained people all across the state. But our training was a little bit unique. There was 4 training providers back then. Most of them just did a curriculum, got you trained, and let you go. They gave you a certificate and let you go. You know.
Okay.
But our team, we decided to start doing what's called a practicum afterwards. So we'd train them, and then we'd reach out to recovery centers where these people were living at and just offer free practicums where they could go. It's kind of like an internship, you know.
Get some hours.
Yeah, just go practice what we taught them how to do, you know what I mean? And that started creating a workforce that was very strong. We got the workforce across the state now is really huge. So that worked pretty good. We did that for a few years. I don't know. I think I was 5 years into being a trainer, and I'd probably trained, 3,000 or 4,000 people by that point.
Okay.
And I was at a conference, but I'd had this thought in my mind about creating a space for peer support specialists themselves, right?
Yeah.
Kind of an association of where people can come and find their CEUs, and because peer supports need peer support too.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And so I created this, the Utah Association of Peer Support Specialists, or UAPS. But that took a lot of time. We met a guy at a conference. He helped us. They used to fly back from back east. They'd fly out here and help us with our bylaws. They helped us get all set up.
Okay.
They did all this stuff. And so we started plugging away. NAMI, the National Alliance for Mental Illness, was nice enough to let us use one of their offices.
Oh, okay.
And so we had a little office,
nice.
That I was doing things.
Yeah, got the office, got the digs. You're moving up, bro.
It was pretty cool. But we started building into that. We got a grant. We started providing some services. The mission of UAPS is to guide, provide, and advance peer support all across the state.
Okay.
So we want to guide what's going on, between the agencies and the states and stuff. We want to actually be providing services, peer support services to fidelity instead of just, telling people what to do and how to recover. That's not really the way it works.
Yeah. And
then we want to be advancing peer support across the state. And so we've been working on that mission ever since. And we're still advancing. As you know, we've been out of the prison.
Yep.
We started a couple of years ago. We got out there, did a few peer support trainings. They want us to come back now. I got some more training set up now. They're getting ready to go forward again.
And that's great, bro. That's so good.
I got gels from across the state reaching out all the time, wanting to know how they can get peer support into their services. So we're just advancing out. We're going into youth fields. We're going into all kinds of different places. So it's been a pretty meaningful journey.
I love that.
We lost our funding, so that's been a journey.
Oh, really? When did you guys lose funding?
It was in that first round. It was I think it was March a year ago
Okay.
when the administration sent out their little thing. I got an email one day.
Was it because of the new administration as far as the government and
Yeah.
the Trump situation?
Yeah, I mean, Trump's Trump. I don't.
Yeah, but
good or bad.
Yeah.
It's just they sent out all these. They just sent out a letter that said stop all funding for nonprofits and such.
Oh,
categories.
okay. And you guys got
And so one day I
caught
got
in
an
the
email.
the net.
Yeah, I just get an email. Well, turn in all your invoices. You're done. And so I've been struggling along ever since. We've done
Bro.
a couple fundraisers, but there was 3 different organizations there that started up around that same time. There was also Mental Health America Utah chapter,
Yeah.
and then Utah Peer Network, which was doing things similar to what I was doing. And both them got their grants pulled too, and so it's been a big shock. So since then, I've been struggling along. But we got a lot of clients, you know.
Yeah.
It's like in mental health court, we got a lot. People come from different treatment agencies to just try to decompress what they're learning in their behavior modification stuff. So we give them a safe place in the drop in to just come and sit and have some coffee and
Yep.
pick topics and figure out how to apply it all to your life. So I haven't been able to just walk away from it, you
Absolutely.
know. So we're plugging along. It's working good.
I love that. I love that, man. So I know you said you've been out at the prison, and we've actually had one of your first students, Shione Galvaca.
Yeah.
C1. He was on the podcast like a couple shows ago. But so as far as being able to offer that into the prison, how important do you think it is to offer peer support or even take that knowledge into the prison to allow men to know about it and possibly want to be motivated to become a peer support specialist?
Well, there's probably 2 sides to that question.
Yeah.
The Sione and that crew, you know, them first few crews we trained, I mean, it changed the culture like you wouldn't believe. It's so important to have that kind of aspect inside of a prison system or jail.
Yeah.
Or even a state hospital or something, because it creates a healing environment to where you can trust the security officers and the treatment teams and all the other stuff that's trying to help you out.
Yeah.
And so it breaks down all the barriers and creates a healthy environment to grow from. On the flip side of that, it's a little bit dangerous, right? Because if you take something like that into the system and it becomes system overrun, and so it just becomes another programming,
Yeah.
then it becomes detrimental to the whole system.
Yeah.
And so I've worked really hard trying to keep some of the fidelity and keep the conversations healthy as possible through the beginning stages. And now they want to do some more training so I can go back out there and start
Yeah.
trying to help some more.
Okay.
Hopefully it works.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it is, man. And, you know, me being a peer support, you know, and getting my certification, I've utilized that certification in my career with the position that I hold now. So I'm the director of Wellness and Ranch with the Renaissance Ranch. So that peer support specialist certification is important, right? And so as far as Utah, do you feel like Utah's fully on board and fully is aware and know exactly what a peer support is? Or is it just something that they're just kind of getting behind?
No, I think they're 100% on board, and I think the state knows what peer support is. The problem is your outreaching agencies don't really understand it as well, right? Because you're battling into systems that already have a regular operating procedure, and now you're adding in peer support, and nobody really knows what that is too well.
Yeah.
Peer support originally was written just for mental health, and you can imagine the culture shock when they said, well, our past clients are coming to work for us now, and the doctors and stuff are like, what the hell? And so that's still going on here today. I spend a lot of time talking with agencies and going over how to use their peer supports.
Yeah.
I do supervision trainings and different things of how to navigate. One of the dangers of that, and the reason I say some people are not quite as aware, is there's what's called drift. You hire a peer support, they're doing the peer support work, you know, just kind of regular peer support services, and pretty soon the supervision administration, they need help with case management, or they need help with transportation or something, right?
Yeah.
And that doesn't really fall into a peer role, but they get thrown into that because there's nobody else to do it. And so it starts deleting the role, and so you gotta stay on top of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But the state itself is 100% on board. Matter of fact, both state leaders that run the program are peer specialists themselves.
Oh, great. That's good.
Yeah.
That's real good. And so like you're speaking about case management as well as that a lot of times as a peer support, when you're trying to be of service to a peer as a peer support, and you get kind of drawn into doing case management, right? And I kind of found that as something I was dealing with as well too, and also our company as well. So they were like, "Hey, I think it'd be best if you get to do your case management certification too." So I got my case management certification, and a lot of times as a peer support, when you're dealing with someone who's in recovery, you are going to do the bulk of a lot of what you're going to do is probably going to end up being case management, right?
Yeah. As far as the agency's perspective goes, and that's kind of okay, but you need to make sure you're changing your hat. And if that makes
absolutely.
sense. You need to make sure the people you're working with know that you're working in a case management realm, because case management is more managing the case. What resources do you need? When do you get the appointments? Peer support is different. Peer support is processing. Processing is the wrong word. Let's just leave that.
Holding space.
It's holding space with each other,
Absolutely.
right? Having them conversations, helping people, personalize all the behavior modification they're going through. Without that, there's not as much healing. And
Absolutely.
So, if you're going to be a case manager at the same time as peer support, you just need to change your hat.
Yes.
Come to me when I'm doing case management. We'll hook you up with all them resources. The other side of that is a lot of peer supports aren't as like me. I was a case manager for a while.
Yeah.
But I would always try to point my peers to a better case manager than me.
Yeah, okay.
Because if somebody's doing housing paperwork or Social Security or any of that, the other person's going to know a lot more about that than me.
Absolutely.
Sure, I can stumble through and put some incorrect spelling words and all this stuff in there, right? But the odds are the person's going to get denied when somebody more qualified can actually take over.
Absolutely.
So I try to connect them to the best resource available, even if I am certified as a case manager.
Yeah.
Does that make sense, though?
Absolutely, it does. I think with me, right, because I do a little bit of case management as well, and also peer support. It's like you said. It's you got to know when when the conversation is going to that direction to where you got to change hats, right?
Yeah.
Because if someone's opening up to me about what they've been going through due to their addiction, right? I'm not gonna. Hey, let's get you set up for food stamps. You know what I mean? Let's get you going with your ID or set up your
Did you make that appointment today?
Yeah. So with me, with myself, man, it's just being cognitive about the conversations that I'm having as far as holding space, but also being able to find those moments where I can, use my experience and my recovery story to be able to help get them through whatever they're going through. I don't, like I said, I'm not trying to say processing it. I'd rather say we're kind of going through this together, the emotions together. You know what I mean?
Just walking along with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just being there. It's so huge. You wouldn't believe. I had a bunch of people coming into treatment, and they'd known me from the prison system.
Yeah.
And the case
from being an inmate?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the case managers would send them in. They get in trouble, and the case manager, you got to go talk to Brian. You know what I mean? And they'd come storming into my office. I ain't talking to you. You're one of them. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, whatever. You know what I mean? Sit down. You've already talked anyway.
Yeah.
But doing that, I'm able to build a rapport.
Okay.
I'm able to build trust with the person, right?
Okay.
It wasn't a couple weeks later. All them guys are my best friend, They're begging me for, how do you help with this? How do you do that? How do you do this? And so they're digging into some of the ways that peer support can connect with each other.
For sure. Absolutely. And dude, I feel like just hearing you tell me that story is like we and it's real. As a peer support, you come across being either working for agencies or in the prison, you'll come across peers. I don't want to say clients. You'll come across peers who feel that way. They look at you like, "Oh man, you're a therapist.
Yeah,
I don't want to tell you shit, right?"
Yeah,
so like how do you navigate through that?
you just let them have their belief.
Yeah.
Right? It's been like for me, the same thing. I'd come in and I can't talk to them, you know.
Yeah.
I can get that. So yeah, fine. You don't need to talk to me. I'm not. I got things to do anyway. Because if I don't let them have that belief for a minute and let them stew on it and be able to change, if I just you got to talk to me. I'm peer support.
Yeah.
Then I'm traumatizing more, right?
Yep.
A lot of the beliefs are coming from trauma-based responses.
For sure.
And so all I got to do is just, okay, you don't got to talk.
Yep.
Well, they told me to talk to you. Well, you already did.
Yep. You just did.
Yeah, take a breather over there. I got some notes to do anyway. You know what I mean? But that gives them trust. It gives them space to say, okay, is my belief system here wrong? And they can come back around. And that's one of the biggest beauties of peer support is just meeting them where they're at. If they don't trust me, I don't need them to trust me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I love it so much, man. It's being able to be able to hold space with someone who's suffering from an ailment and an addiction and just experiences that I've experienced, right? And I've been able to pull myself up out of the depths and to get myself together to be able to be and hold space and possibly share that knowledge with someone and watch them come up out of that is such a great thing.
It's amazing. I remember on the ethical side of it, because it also strikes us too. We got our beliefs in peer support, right? Where we came from. And I was still early in recovery. I was probably maybe 3 years in or something. I was doing a group one day, and I thought, I might have told you this story, but...
No, either way, let's hear it.
I thought I was being cool, I'm up there teaching this class, blah, 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 blah. And there's a guy in there just having a bad day. And he keeps catcalling me every time I say something, you know what I mean? I'm like, dude, what's your freaking problem? He said, fuck you, you fucking punk. And you can't call me a punk without fighting, you know what I mean? That was ingrained in me for
sure.
And so,
that's that prison beliefs right there, boy.
Yeah, and that was just in me.
Throw that word around.
I didn't see that coming. So we're bouncing each other off the walls.
Oh, you guys got at it.
In the group room at this recovery center. You know what I mean? And
that's hilarious.
I look over and the group is looking at me and they're like, and so I told the class is over, you know what I mean? I went to the office. I, told the office what was going on. They said, what are you, stupid? Your staff, you can't. But it was a trigger in me, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And so you have to really get into the ethics of what peer sports are because you got to be aware of that kind of stuff. And so going into that other story, I'm able to separate that out now. You know what I mean? They believe what they believe. I can't.
Yep.
And so it's pretty cool. Ethics is one of the biggest benefits, I think, to peer support.
Yeah.
When you get down to it.
Yeah, and I've had when we're speaking of ethics, like I've had clients that like have opened up to me, right? Because as a peer support, you've built that rapport. They feel comfortable because you're really like you said, you're just holding space. But they've divulged information that as a peer support, you're still a professional. Yeah. So it's like, and I have an agency to answer to, right? Yeah. So I go through that like, oh, is this information that I need to keep to myself as a peer support, or is this something that needs to be shared with a therapist or which is another thing, right? Us as peer support working alongside the therapist. Yeah. It's in my opinion, it's our job to be peer supports and hold space for a peer, but it's also our job to bridge that gap between the client, the peer, and the therapist. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I come across that where it's like in numerous situations, and I'm always like, dude, if I'm thinking, oh damn, is this something I should probably divulge to? I for sure divulge you.
You gotta go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But it does. I mean, we are mandatory reporters, right?
Yeah.
So anybody with any kind of harm stuff, you do got to report that.
For sure.
But the rest of it, there's a lot. Yeah. You know what I mean? We're not processing like a therapist. We're just there in the space, and we do hear a lot of stuff. Yeah. And people, when they're opening up like that, it's our responsibility to try to keep confidentiality. Yep. But you also got to build a team. You got the agency. Sure. You need to back up and not cause harm to the peer. You need to know when to go. I actually had to go to the therapist a few different times and say this was a situation. I don't know how to process that with them. I know you do, but there's these issues going on. And they told me not to tell you, but I just want to make sure we're on the top of the game. But I could also follow that out. How can I help support you guys in your therapy goals and stuff? And so it built a big trust in the system. we did the same thing out of the prison. A lot of the guys out there were cutting, just self-harm, not really. I don't know if they're suicidal or not. Some of them might have been.
Yeah.
And they came and asked me, what's our rule on reporting? And to me, you know what I mean? You got to dig into it. Where am I at with that? But the captain wanted everything, any kind of self-harm reported. And so I was able to tell the peers, you guys are mandatory reporters. And so if anybody comes to you with any kind of self-harm or anything like that, you need to report it to the staff, but also you need to report it to your peers.
Yep.
So that they know that I got a mandatory reporting. If you tell me you're hurting yourself or something, I need to report it, but I will also be there when you come back.
Yeah, for sure.
You see how you're keeping that bridge there?
Absolutely.
And so it was pretty cool.
What's up, my boy? You looking for treatment? You tired of going in and out of prison? Come on, I got you. Well, here at the ranch, we don't just diagnose your addiction. We teach you the necessary tools you'll need to combat the drug use and repeated incarceration.
They say I'm flexing when I smile. I'm just thankful for my life now.
We'll get your body in top working condition to be the protector and the provider for your loved ones.
You don't know the sacrifice.
We keep you engaged in fun activities with your peers that make an easy transition into society.
Head clear. No guilt in my gratitude here.
We get you engaged in activities you may not usually do to bring the best version of yourself. We are not just therapists, counselors, and teachers. We are a family, and we are a brotherhood. So if you're ready to start your journey today, have your caseworker reach out, set up a professional visit with me, or have your family reach out to get you started. Oh yeah, before I forget, we take TAM Medicaid for housing too.
But it's kind of dark. I always suggest going to at least your supervisor. Usually your supervisor you should have a pretty close relationship. You can go in and have a one-on-one conversation on what's my best approach in these situations. So that way you're making sure you're not causing any harm or anything.
Absolutely.
Kind of cool.
Yeah, for sure. I think for me as a peer support man, when I'm holding space with a peer and information is probably divulged that I think, damn, this is something that probably I should bring up to their therapist, right? Or one of my colleagues that is probably overseeing him in some way, shape, or fashion. In my mind, I think, okay, is this information going to help the therapist better service our peer? Is it going to help them to figure out what it is that they're dealing with, give them more information to help them get to where they're trying to go as far as being successful? So it's always kind of a back and forth thing. It is. For sure, bro.
You got to dig in. I had one guy, he just relapsed, but it was his third one.
Yeah.
And he came to me, he was desperate. He was trying, you know what I mean? His third one means he gets kicked out, and he comes to me, you can't tell anybody, but I relapsed. Okay, I'm not going to say anything, right?
Yeah.
That was my first
response
reaction because I want to be there for you.
For sure.
But after leaving the little thing, we came up with some things of what happened. We had the conversations, you know what I mean? But after leaving that pier, I got to thinking, you know what I mean? There's a lot of danger in this.
Yeah, for sure.
For me to keep that secret. And I got the rest of the center, you know what I mean, to look after. So even though I told him that I wasn't going to tell anybody, I still had to go to the program director.
Yeah.
And I had a one-on-one conversation with her. You know what I mean? So-and-so relapsed. He asked me not to say anything, but I don't know how to respond.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? I got 15
that?
other people here, and if he starts using on the unit, we could be causing that kind of fire.
It'll be a domino effect.
But I also want to support him. And so we come up with a way that if people do come to me with personal things like that where they're scared, she gave me a little bit of variance and some guidelines of when to come to them, when not to. And with that specific peer, I was actually able to... They give me a few days to encourage him to hold himself accountable.
Yeah, that's
you know what I mean, which is huge for this peer.
Yeah,
because he was fearful. He was afraid he was going to get kicked out, and the rule was you get kicked out.
Yeah, for sure.
So I was able to take a few days, keep an eye on things with the unit, and work with him on holding himself accountable in an accountability group.
Yeah.
And they actually voted to keep him.
Yeah.
And That was his turning point in his whole recovery.
Oh, I bet.
It was, he finally realized that, hey, I can't be doing that stuff.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you do gotta go find that trusted person in the agency to say, it's usually a supervisor.
Yeah.
Without that, I don't know where I would be.
Yeah.
Coming out of prison, all the hospitals not knowing anything about any kind of ethics. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I did an ethics scenario or session in training, but I didn't know. And so without them supervisors and therapists and stuff to talk to kind of navigate my way into peer support, I don't know that I'd be here right now.
Yeah, that's totally true, bro. So as far as like when you mentioned the parameters and boundaries kind of thing, right? What were those parameters when you were speaking to the therapist and they gave you kind of a set guideline, like, hey, this is maybe outside of the realm of that, you probably want to divulge the information. Like, what were the parameters?
So that one was the person was cutting. Right?
Oh, okay.
And he wanted somebody to just talk to, and I kind of freaked out, you know what I mean?
I bet.
And so they said, as long as there's nothing, that's like deep, as long as it just scratches.
Oh, okay.
I don't got to overreact, but they gave me different tools I could use while talking to him.
Okay.
He's probably talking to you because he trusts you, you know what I mean? And
for sure.
you don't want to destroy that. And so we actually created a little code word. If I said knick-knack, we'd be walking down the hall, walk by each other. If I said knick-knack and he said paddywhack, then that mean everything was fine. But if he didn't answer, then I knew I needed to go circle around and come back and have a conversation, just see how I could support him. And that worked really well because then I could encourage him to tell the things he wasn't telling the therapist to the therapist so they could do their processing. Yeah. And after therapy, they would tell me their treatment goals and what they're working on. And so we could intensify the services he was getting a little bit better. On the other one, the program director just kind of said that, I'm giving you your own freedom on that.
Yeah.
She said she wanted to make sure that, just if you feel wrong about it, then you need to come to us. If you're feeling safe, you got a couple of days, just don't destroy your trust, but keep the program safe. And so it worked pretty well that way too.
Yeah.
But I'm very glad I did. And some people might think I betrayed that guy's trust. And I guess in some ways I did.
Yeah.
But I got 15 other people on the unit. And I had a lot of people that I did time with wanting me to keep all kinds of secrets.
Oh, I bet.
You know what I mean? And all those guys, the code in prison, you don't rat people out and all this stuff. And they'd come in and, hey, don't say nothing, like hustling drugs on the unit and stuff. And no.
Yeah.
That's not me.
No, absolutely
right there in that moment, no.
No, for sure.
You're going to hold yourself accountable, or I am. Which do you want to do? Because we're going to the office right now. You know what I mean? Most times it's pretty clear cut and dry like that. Unless somebody's in a panic situation where they're looking for some trust.
Yeah.
Give them that little bit of space, you know what I mean? And if it feels unhealthy to me, then I'll take it to whatever other level I need to make sure they're safe, the program's safe.
Yeah.
The whole deal.
So in the substance abuse world, right? In the therapy world, I should say, before there was ever a peer support, it was just therapists and counselors, right?
Yeah.
And then eventually, like we talked about, the peer support started gaining ground. How effective do you think it is for a program that implements not only a therapist, but also peer supports in their program? How effective do you think it is?
It's so effective if they let the peer support be a peer support.
Yeah.
And sometimes I have to wonder if they don't get jealous over that sometimes, right? Because the peer support is a very low-key job. It's a high-stress environment, and burnout is a big thing, but it's a low-key.
For sure.
You're just meeting people where they're at. You're just helping them navigate their choices and all this stuff. And so sometimes I wonder if some of the treatment staff don't kind of envy that a little bit, you know what I mean? Because they got endless documents they got to fill out and all this stuff. And peer support notes are pretty basic.
Yep.
But if you can implement them together in a healthy way, it's outstanding. The results are.
Yeah.
I showed you a video in training about the Phoenix Multisport in Colorado, and it kind of shows there's a clinician there. She couldn't figure out how to help people. She wanted to, but she couldn't quite get there. And she met somebody in recovery, and they started a little program called Phoenix Multisport where people just connect, right? Yeah. They do it through exercise. We got Fit to Recover here. We got athlete, things like that. They just do it to connect, but they got both sides there. They got the clinical and the numbers before that program. The numbers of people with addiction were 10% got treatment, and only like 1 or 2 of them would actually make it to their first year. But the people who went through Phoenix Multisport, 3/4 of the people that went to the program stayed and made it through to that first year. And for the other couple that didn't make it through, they said they'd come back with no shame.
Yeah.
Right. And that kind of shows the statistics of how a well-maintained team like you're talking about can change. It's just having somebody there that's been through it is outstanding.
Yeah. And I've been with the Renaissance Ranch for almost 5 years, and I remember where there was a point where we didn't have peer support. We've implemented a peer support program within the last, I want to say, year and a half, and it kind of breaks it up a little bit as far as a program, right? Because with the therapist, you got a lot of knowledge. You got a lot of alphabets behind their names, right? So you got a lot of beneficial information that at times can seem dry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But when you have someone who suffered, he may not got the alphabets behind their last name, but they got the experience of suffering from addiction and pulling themselves out of the darkness, right? And to be able to hold space with someone who's attempting to get their life together through a program, through a therapist, and to be a peer support, it just kind of made our program a little bit more cohesive and kind of turned it up a notch, in my opinion.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Community bond.
Absolutely. It doesn't feel like, I'm just going in front of some bookworm dude. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're getting the knowledge. And by the way, our therapists that are at the Renaissance Ranch are all formerly are in recovery. Great men. Been sober for many years, and they do a great job. But once we added the peer support to a program, I think right now we got about 15 peer supports throughout all of the Renaissance houses we have. We have about 4 in the state. And man, it's been a game changer to be able to not only for the program, but for the peer support. To be able to be of service to someone
it's
struggling.
Huge. I don't know if anybody knows, Renaissance was kind of founded a little bit on peer support. Taz, is his name Taz?
Oh yeah, I've heard. I don't know the origins. I've only been there for 4 or 5 years, but I've heard a lot about Taz.
And he was in one of our very first trainings.
Yeah,
clear back in 2012 or whatever. And he took off, and he was one of the program directors or something at the time.
Man, I love that.
He brought me a hat. But Renaissance is amazing like that. Most of their people do got lived experience, and adding peer support in. Even you said it's creating that community bond.
Absolutely.
Because all the wording in the books, it's not like the clinical team doesn't care. They're trying.
Yeah, for sure. They are.
The wording they use doesn't match the wording ex-con.
No, it's not. The language is not landing.
Yeah,
sometimes.
So you go in there and it's like dry.
Yeah.
Maladaptive. And so being able to come out and talk to a peer and ask him what is maladaptive is huge. I actually had to do that in one of our groups. We had a substitute, PRN or whatever.
Yeah.
He was doing a group, and he's just going on with all this clinical language, and everybody's trying to keep up. You know what I mean? And he saw it's maladaptive, and he's using all these words, and I says, whoa. I don't think anybody in here even knows what that word means.
Yeah.
So can we fix our language a little bit so we can connect more? Because I can see everybody in this group is kind of lost.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it hurt his feelings, but I had to pull the group into a more healing environment.
For sure.
He wasn't trying to do anything wrong. He was just using the words he's been taught.
He's doing what he's trained.
But it worked out pretty good having a peer in it.
Yeah, dude. And I'm so, bro, like, it just makes me feel, when I was thinking about having you on, I said, dude, I gotta have Brian on. We've got numerous guys who have got out of our program and are like, hey, bro, I want to get my peer support specialist. I want to get my certification. I've sent you numerous guys. So this is such a great pipeline to have, to be able to create good certified peer support specialists, to be able to get out into the field and work alongside other agencies or even for themselves, right? To hold space.
It's creating that shift. I kind of talked to you about in the beginning of the training. Right?
Yeah.
And the whole shift going on from the 80s when they thought all they could do was medicate people and keep them stable, right? And so even today, a lot of the guys you sent me, I get so many calls and emails every day about how do I apply? Am I on the list yet? What do I do?
Yeah.
I get ethical questions. But the shift, and I think all your listeners can see it going on right now.
Absolutely.
For peers to be even going into the prison is huge.
Big.
For peer sports to be trained in the prison,
Absolutely.
that's a whole nother level of system transformation, right? And so everybody's coming together all across the nation, from the White House all the way down to us peers. You know what I mean? And people in recovery. And there is a big shift going on, and peer sports kind of at the base of that.
For sure. And with incarceration, right? With specifically incarceration, like, I was incarcerated for a long time, and to be able to go into the prison and unlock doors with my badge as a peer support, in the Achieve program, in the Solid program, it's just mind blowing to me.
Yeah.
And not only that, it's not just mind blowing to me, but it's mind blowing to the inmates who see me walking through there. Some I have been incarcerated with at one point, right? And they see me walking around and unlocking doors, and they're just like, "Damn, Smacks, for real? What do you come out here and do?" I said, "Dude, I'm a peer support. I come out here and I train. I do groups. I hold recovery dialogue with guys out here in the Achieve program. I pretty much am in the career of being myself and talking about what got me through my experience of addiction."
Using my experience. Get paid.
Absolutely, bro. That's the best place to be. And it's not even working. It's being in a place of service to be able to help someone. And it was funny because I was doing it before it was a part of my career. I was already going out there to the prison doing it, not realizing that, dude, I'm already a peer support and just not certified yet.
Yeah, that's what most people are. I mean, peer support services are different. That means you're certified and you're delivering a service. But peer support, everybody is doing peer support.
And don't even realize it.
Even two people that are, maybe they're crack addicts and homeless crack addicts, right? They're down there, they're having a really hard day. Maybe their stuff got stolen. They're not knowing how to navigate through the things there. That's peer support.
Absolutely.
Two people working together, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't have anything really to do with recovery until it becomes into services, and then what are we working on, right?
For sure.
And so it's pretty cool. I'm actually going back out to the prison now to do the trainings, but I also believe I just got permission to start implementing my Inside Out program out there.
Oh, okay.
For people that are short timers.
Yeah, that are ready to hit the gate.
Yeah, when you hit double digits, you remember that feeling? Your brain kind of shifts.
For sure.
And so I got a whole program designed. It's called Inside Out. We start hitting them at 99 days.
Oh, I love that.
And kind of just helping them ponder questions through that last 99 days till 60, then down to 30, and then the countdown begins.
I love that.
And then bring them out here and start helping them 99 days out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just to get past that initial 3 months of that's the most dangerous time.
For
right?
sure.
And so I think I got permission to get that going. Hopefully next month I'll be able to start digging into that. And
I love that, man.
things are just growing and growing.
I love that. You say growing. So what is next for Brian and UAPS? What's next? What do you guys got planned as far as peer support, and where do you see it going?
I see it going where there's a lot more RCOs, or recovery-oriented organizations.
Okay.
Recovery community organizations.
Yeah.
To where peers are able to help people without all the other, heavy-duty behavior modification stuff in there. But eventually down the road, a lot of the people that are needing services are not in need of heavy-duty therapists yet.
Yeah.
And the first thing they're directed to is heavy-duty therapy, because they got to get a treatment plan, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And so I'm navigating the direction of why they're waiting for all that stuff, getting them some peer support, getting them, and see if they even need the therapy by the time they get there, or if we can stabilize them beforehand.
Yeah.
With some lower level services. I'm not trying to be a
Yeah.
technician, you know what I mean? But having a place where people can go is huge. And so that's kind of my next move. First, I got to survive this funding cut. But
Yeah. Yeah, man. And have you guys been attempting to try to get funding back?
I have. I've tried a few grants. We did just get a little mini grant for $70,000.
Yeah.
But it's over a 5-year span.
Oh,
so.
bro.
And really, our running budget isn't that big, and so I'm still working. I'll probably do it's probably me. One of the biggest things, I hate doing fundraisers.
Yeah.
But I also think that peer support shouldn't have to pay for peer support, right?
No.
If it's part of the system and it's part of the Medicaid budget, that's fine. But for people that don't have all that, how do they get help? You know what I mean? I don't think people should have to pay. And so I'm working on ways to create some kind of sustainable funding to keep to where, like me and you, I'll give up a cup of coffee.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just give a place guy to go sit, you know what I mean? So I'm working on some of that stuff. I don't know. It's some
I bet it seems like such a tedious feat to be able to try to get that funding solidified again, man.
It is. It's hard. And getting buy-in's a little different. But I'm just doing things. We got Wellness Day coming up, and we got...
Yeah, when's that?
That's May 9th.
And then where's it located?
West Valley, I hope.
Oh, okay.
And then, did you hear about Ripple Fest? Maybe you guys ought to come over.
Yeah. Where does Ripple Fest?
It's the Sounds of Recovery. So I rented the the amphitheater over at the Multicultural Center.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a little concert.
Oh, okay.
And it's people in recovery.
What date is it?
It's July 23rd.
Okay.
Tickets is probably going to go on sale in a couple of weeks, but I just got a whole bunch of people out there to sign up. Some of them want to share their story. Some of them got spoken words.
Yeah.
Some of them are rappers. Some
Love
of them got
that.
songs. It doesn't matter what the sound is. It matters what the message is.
Absolutely.
Right? So I'm just trying to get a community event going so that not just people in recovery, but the regular community can come and see what recovery actually sounds like.
And what it sounds and looks like.
Dispel some of that stigma going on. That's going to be a fun one. I'm excited for.
I love that. Make sure you shoot me some information. Shoot me an email. You know what I mean? If we can be a part of it, I for sure would love to. You know what I mean? So if you have a listener, right, who's thinking about being a peer support specialist in the state of Utah, what would you have them do, and how do they go about starting that?
Well, first thing you got to do is just hold on till you get that first year.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's the hardest part, right?
Yeah.
When they get there, start reaching out. People like me and you.
Yep.
Write your journey, right?
Yeah.
Write your journey about how'd you get there.
Absolutely, bro.
What happened before? How'd you get there? What do you do to maintain it? You know, what do you do to help other people? Because that's the magic of applying. But I encourage everybody, all walks, to apply to get certified, because it not only changed my life in the recovery realm, it changed the way my whole family approached his.
Oh, okay.
Like the conflict resolution stuff that we talk about, it changed the way I approach conversations with everybody and with family members. It's hard to do peer support with family, but I can still see in the background of where things are, right?
The foundations of it.
And it changes my reactions to the way things happen. And conversations. So my conversations become more meaningful, right? And so I encourage everybody to get involved. You can reach out to me, Brian at UAPS.org. I can help you get started if you need help getting on a computer and
love that.
Filling out all the paperwork.
For sure.
But you do need to have a letter of reference from a professional. Usually they like to have a therapist or somebody write it. A letter from a family or friend, and then your recovery journey. You need to have all three of those ready, and then just get on the state's website, upload it all on there, and start the journey.
Love that, man. So if we have somebody out there, I know we're talking about funding. Where could our listeners or possible funders reach out to you or go to possibly be a funding to help fund what you got going on? Because peer support specialist is such a great thing, and it's very contagious as far as the positivity. And I feel like there's been such a great response from the community. If you have somebody that wants to donate or wants to help with funding, how would they go about doing that?
Well, you can donate on our website. It's just UAPSS.org.
Okay.
Or you can reach out to me. I'm more than happy to run you through some of the stuff we're going on in our unit. You can come over and see our unit. Our building's got, the group room's got a bunch of really nice couches, right?
Okay.
So when people come over for groups, we'll say we're doing coffee and a connection.
Yeah.
Get some coffee, they come in there. It's not a hard bench. It's a really comfortable
I
environment.
love that.
And so they just come in, and you wouldn't believe some of the things they open up on.
Yeah.
We have people coming in all the time saying they've been doing this, certain adverse behavior.
Yeah.
Nobody knows about it. I can get away with it, but I don't feel very good about it. Maybe
Yeah.
I should go to the VOA. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we can start having all them conversations. Well, where's it going to lead you?
For
You know what I
sure.
mean? Do you want to go? 'Cause
Yeah.
we can make a phone call.
For sure. I
And
love
so
that.
you can come and see all that stuff over there, and you can be a part of it. If you want to join in or build programs, reach out to me.
Yep.
Again, my email is brian@uapss.org, or the website. Yeah.
For sure. Man, I appreciate everything you're doing, Brian. You know, you're such a positive force in the realm, in the community, bro, of people who are suffering from addiction, people who are suffering from incarceration. And you're such a trailblazer in the state of Utah as far as leading the directions with the peer support. And I feel like there's no other person who could do it than yourself. So I appreciate you, my boy.
You don't know how much
Thank you for
that's
coming through.
appreciated.
Oh,
Thank
for
you.
sure, man. And you guys, like I said, man, like we said, if you're looking to be a peer support specialist, I think a key thing is write down your recovery story, like Brian said, because in order to be able to help somebody who's suffering from addiction, you got to know where you came from and know how you did it, right? We're going to leave some links at the bottom to be able to tap in with Brian and tap into everything he's doing. Make sure y'all tap in, the like button, the subscribe button, and follow. This your boy Smacks with the Cage No More podcast. Till we meet again. Let's go.